Welcome to Shamford. I'm Jessel, and here we discuss all things 3D printing. Today we're starting the video at our kitchen countertop, and that's because I want to show you these light switches. We've been installing these Casa branded smart switches throughout the house starting maybe a year ago, and we realized the cost of these cover plates add up quite a bit, especially if they're 2 gang, 3 gang, or 4 gang. And actually the smart switches we've been installing came with this style of snap fit cover plate, which looks really nice because there's no visible screw holes. So I took inspiration from that and made a few replicas like this. This is a single gang, but obviously I've made this 2 gang version, 3 gang. I made the model to be parametric so it could scale infinitely. The only limitation is going to be the build plate of your printer. And because this was such a simple project, I never bothered to record the initial part of the project, but I've started facing some interesting challenges, so I've decided to start recording. So let's start with this one. Nothing special, it's just a replica of what's commercially available. It's a snap fit. There are some tabs up top, same thing at the bottom, and there's a little cutout for when you want to remove the cover plate. And you can see that's exactly what the original looks like. The original plate is a little bit bigger than the one I made. The one I made is the standard size. I believe it's 4.25 or 4.5 inches, as opposed to this one being a little bit larger than that, which is why you see the tabs kind of in the middle here. And looking at my replica, I made sure to print this in regular PLA, which is different from the usual filament that I use, which is matte PLA. I use matte most of the time because of the looks, but it's a lot more brittle than the regular PLA. So for this one, I needed the tabs to flex a little bit, so I went with the regular PLA, and it looks really good. And of course, since the plates are going to be printed like this, flat on the build table, I made sure to beef up the tabs a little bit more so they don't snap off so easily. And here's a look at the smart switch that I've used. So I don't know if the camera is able to pick it up, but there's a very small notch cut out for each of the tabs. And I made this adapter piece for the regular switches that don't have those notches cut out. Here, let me take this off and show you. In this example, I actually didn't bother installing the adapters for the regular switch, and that's because it's only a 2 gang cover and the strength from this side of the plate is able to support the rest of the plate. So that was a probably bad example, so let me put this back on. And let me take this one off to show you the real good example. Okay, that was a lot harder because it was supported on both sides. So here, there's a smart switch with the notches cut out, so I didn't have to use the adapter for this side. But the opposite side, again, it's a regular Decora style on-off switch with no notches. So I'll show you the side profile. Yeah, so behind here, there's space for those tabs, and they can be held more securely this way. And I forgot to mention, this Wi-Fi switch this flange is a lot thicker than the regular switches. This one measures 3.8 millimeters versus 1.2 on the regular ones. So the adapter is serving 2 purposes. One is to provide that ledge for the tabs to grab onto, and also it's adding that thickness that's missing on the regular ones. And here's another part of our house where I installed the cover plate. This is a 4 gang, and all of these happen to be smart switches, so I didn't need to use the adapter, and they just snapped on. Okay, so they all seem to work just fine. So what's the challenge? So here's one example where my solution does not work. If you've noticed, the mounting plate on this one is a lot larger than the other switches I've been showing. And my adapter actually sits inside the plate. So the tabs that I put in the cover can't reach behind and grab onto the adapter anymore. And I think there are two things we can do. One is the more easy and destructive way, which is to cut this part off and install my adapter. Another option is to raise everything up a little bit so they're further away from the wall. That includes adding more thickness to the adapter and making the cover plate thicker as well. But the downside of that second method is that the whole thing is going to be really thick and these buttons will be recessed relative to the rest of the plate. So now I'm thinking, can I maybe make a custom washer and put it behind this metal plate and use this existing edge to replace my adapter? Okay, now that I've said that out loud, I think I can just loosen these screws and put the cover on directly. Let me try that. Okay, so that didn't go too well, and that's because the distance from the tip of this tab to the tip of this tab was too short. The plate was larger than this distance. So what I've done is I took a utility knife and shaved off a little bit of length here, so we'll see. Yeah, so that ended up working. One problem though is that it's a little loose. If I try, I can move this back and forth. I think it's a little too far out from the wall. Okay, I've done some tweaking and it's a little bit better. Not perfect, but still better than before. Although this works, I think a more durable solution is to make the adapter thicker as well as the plate, because that's going to work with any size of mounting plate as long as it fits behind this cover. And looking at the side profile here, we do have about 1.5 millimeters of headroom, so I think we can afford to raise it up a little bit. All done. This one's done too. This one as well. And finally, this one. Thanks for watching. Bye.